maybe not as much about business as Deepo Samuel. This is still a matter of principle, but he did show up at minicamp, which is a very important note. What this allows him to do is avoid $88,000 in fines, and perhaps more importantly from the team's perspective, it creates a new dialogue between him and what is right now a fractured relationship with the organization. So the fact that Deepo showed up is certainly a very good sign, but it is not a guarantee that he will ultimately suit up week one. Deepo still wants that new contract, and honestly, at this point, still would like to be traded. But for now, a good sign that he is at minicamp.
Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit. I'll remind everyone, Jeff, it was you who broke this story initially that Deepo wanted to be traded. He said it directly to you on the record. So there's the contract piece of it, and then you mentioned that it may not just be about money. What else is going on here between Deepo Samuel and the 49ers that could be a problem?
Well, it all starts with the money, right? It all starts with the conversations for Deepo to get paid before his rookie deal is up, and now he's going into the final year of that deal. From what I understand, Deepo didn't like the tone of the conversations that were occurring, and ultimately decided then that he didn't want to be a part of that organization. And he didn't want to elaborate to me when he told me that he wanted to be traded into the reasons. He would like all of that to play out behind the scenes with the organization. And the 49ers, by the way, have also taken that cue and been very quiet on their side of things as well, trying to work this out. But we should remember that when Kyle Shanahan uses words like relationship and those types of things, this is about the 49ers trying to prove to Deepo Samuel that they do love him, that they do covet him, that they do want him in the building. And yes, it does go beyond money, I should say.
So D-Wood, this feels, at least to me, and I want to check in with you on it, like a very important story. This is a team that was maybe a play away from being in the Super Bowl last year that is now handing the quarterback responsibilities, handing the ball, handing the team over to a very unproven rookie, a super talented young guy, but who has played very little football. It feels to me like having Deepo Samuel there is critically important for the 49ers going forward. How do you see it?
Greeny, you're absolutely right. This is huge. Think about all the assets that the 49ers gave up to move up to number 3 to draft Trey Lance. Now you're talking about, a possibility, a world where Deepo Samuel is traded. How does that help in the development of your young quarterback? It makes no sense. I mean, you're talking arguably the best player on the 49ers team. So this is just a dilemma that the 49ers are going through. And Jeff had pointed out where, you hear that the 49ers at front office trying to frame this at rebuilding the relationship, because the 49ers are a much better team with Deepo Samuel and obviously developing their young quarterback when you have that type of player on your roster.
Now, Nico, you come from a place, most of us all associate you as a Patriot, where they probably expect you to take emotion out of it more than anything else, right? Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, you do your job, and this is their business and all the rest of that, and ultimately we saw how it ended with Tom Brady. I mean, when things get sideways like this, as they appear to have, and guys start taking things personally, it can get very complicated. How do you see this?
Yeah, well, because when it's personal, you just want to get away. Like it's oil and water. You don't even want to be associated with them anymore, because at the end of the day, you want to be paid accordingly for what you produce on the field. So he's the best player on this team. And for him to help a young Trey Lance become a better quarterback by, okay, they're going to give me the ball, 20, 30 times? And we know in the NFL your career is not very long. It's a short career. So if they're going to use me up as a running back, a missile motion guy, reverse guy, a gadget guy, number 1 receiver, slot receiver. So he understands, okay, I'm the guy. They need to pay me like the number 1 receiver I am.
Right.
And I need to be paid like the top receivers in the NFL. And if they can't do that, then I can't be the guy for you. Well, I'm going to have to go somewhere else.
That's right. And Jeff, I'm not in the conversations, but it feels to me, from what I'm hearing you, the way I'm hearing you describe it, as though they're trying to argue, well, you're not Tyreek Hill, you're not one of these number 1 receivers, and he's saying, I'm better than that. I actually do more things for you than the things that I don't do. That's how I'm hearing it from this distance.
So, a little bit, but it's more the tone of the conversations that were occurring as much as the value itself. The 49ers covet him as a player on the field, but oftentimes when players go to management and say, hey, I want to get paid, if management doesn't handle that conversation, the way the player wants and treats with some civility, I think that's where things can go sideways. I'm not saying the 49ers meant for this to go sideways. They love Deebo. I promise you that. But sometimes players can take things more personally in these negotiations than management expects. And that, to me, is what feels like is the case here with Deebo.
It's a dangerous set of circumstances, and again, hanging in the balance might very well be the difference between a deep playoff run and a team that is practically starting from scratch. We will see. All right, speaking of which,